Hello, gorgeous souls. Hope you're having a great start to your week. My week was a little rocky in getting started, and I had a very close family member of mine have a potentially very serious medical condition come up, and this is why I really wanted to jump on and share this, because our emotions absolutely can impact our physical energy so much. And I really just want to explain this piece, because I think so many women don't actually get this or don't understand what's actually going on at a deeper level in how it actually impacts our biological state, like our very physical state. And often we can dismiss stress, or we can dismiss emotions and be like, oh, I'm just being lazy, or I should be more motivated, or I should have got more done. And so we can end up really invalidating, number one, how we feel, but what we actually also need in order to really support ourselves as well. Hey Joe, great to have you on. So in terms of what actually happens when we go into perhaps a feeling of grief or very low energy emotions such as powerlessness, a state of fear, a state of despair, or feeling a sense of hopelessness in our situation. Quite often when we feel that we haven't got a choice, or that there's only one choice but it's not what we want, we can often feel a sense of powerlessness. And so powerless really feels like a sense of apathy. What's the point? Why bother? Why even try? Nothing changes for me. And often in this state we experience shame and or the nervous system state of freeze. Now freeze and shame are biologically the same thing. It's actually playing out in our system, and this causes a lot of dysregulation and definitely like hypo-arousal, meaning we withdraw, our system collapses, we find it hard to communicate, we don't want to be seen, we don't want to speak to people, we find it difficult to ask for help, we find it difficult to get things done when we're in this particular state. So obviously powerlessness, grief, all of those sorts of emotions, when our system feels so overwhelmed and we know that we can't escape it, meaning we feel powerless, otherwise the fight-flight nervous system state generally gets engaged to a certain point until the body is completely exhausted. So how this works with emotions is anger, as you'll notice, still doesn't feel great, but it's got a lot more energy in it. And generally when we're in anger, now we're in an activated state within the nervous system of either fight, flight, or get the hell out of there kind of feelings, but there's a lot more energy. Still doesn't feel great. As we get higher on the emotional guidance scale, you'll notice even frustration still doesn't feel great, but it's definitely a lighter energy than anger. As we get up into either boredom, just bored with the stress that we're experiencing, or even into emotions such as I'm curious how this gets to shift and change for me, I'm curious what I could do to support myself in this situation, I'm curious how I'm going to learn and grow from this. So curiousness really does support. It's really a tipping point, just the same as boredom's quite a neutral energy. It's neither necessarily, super positive or super negative. All of those things really start to shift and change our physical energy that we actually have available because of what's actually happening in our autonomic nervous system. So it's moving us either from that freeze nervous system state into a much more regulated state. As we start to get into emotions such as contentment, appreciation, gratitude, passion, excitement can kind of tip into a little bit of a frenetic energy. Sometimes you may find yourself being a little bit adrenalized when you're really excited. However, more often than not, excitement comes from like a positive excitement, a positive feeling of well-being, a positive feeling of everything's working out for me, everything's going to be okay. And from that, now we're in a much more regulated state. Our body is no longer creating excess adrenaline or cortisol, and basically what's actually happening is the body's able to produce energy and rest and digest and be in a much more regulated state moving forward. So knowing how our emotions impact our physical energy is so important because often the two are very interlinked as well. So the worse we feel physically, then, that can impact our mindset where we're saying, gosh, I'm just being lazy, or I should be getting more done, or I should have got more done, or we can be very self-critical. And particularly in the energy of freeze, when our nervous system goes into freeze or overwhelm or shut down, often there is deeper feelings of shame that can come up, meaning I'm not enough, I'm not doing enough, I'm failing, whatever story that our inner critic comes up with at that particular point. So being able to recognize what's actually happening and not actually buy into the story is exceptionally helpful, or knowing how to gradually move yourself up. Now, this is not to say that we don't pay attention to our emotions. I'm a huge advocate of listening to our emotions, understanding what it is that they're communicating with us. It's either our focus or an experience that we're having that we wish to change in our life in some way, shape or form. And sometimes we can do that through the reframing of the meaning that we're making about that. But other times too, it can be sometimes we get stuck in certain emotions as well. So really understanding what is the story I'm telling myself around those things, but also understanding how these are interlinked, as I mentioned. So what I'll do is I'll pop the emotional guidance scale link below for you. I have found this an amazing process, an amazing tool that has helped and supported me for years in understanding how I can just gradually, very kindly, very compassionately, not making my emotions wrong, but gently guide myself up the emotional guidance scale. There's a video in that download where you can jump on, have a look at that, and understand exactly how to start to shift yourself up higher on the emotional guidance scale on a regular basis. Again, it's not to ignore what you're feeling. I think it's really important to process, to feel what we're feeling. I've certainly had many tears this week. As I mentioned, I had one of my loved ones in quite a serious medical situation earlier on in the week, and on top of supporting my partner for the last 9 months with severe nerve impact and surgery in December. It's just been a lot, and so I've really needed to cry and to release that nervous system energy, the survival energy that was stored in my nervous system from those events. Had big cries, allow that, and then reset, refocus to move forward in a really powerful, positive way. And I truly believe it's the most healthiest way that we can be navigating challenging situations that obviously are going to come up at points in our life as well, and be able to still reframe and have a more positive focus moving forward. So sending you all lots of love. I hope this has been super helpful. As always, please feel free to either comment below. I'll drop that link below for the emotional guidance scale, but also feel free, if you've got any questions at all, pop a post in here to ask questions, to perhaps, pick my brain if that's what you'd like, or send me a DM if you'd really like some extra support in being able to fully thrive, to have the tools, the skills to be able to successfully guide your thoughts, overcome limiting beliefs, all of those sorts of things to truly thrive in life. If you'd love to find out more about my 12-week program, Core Foundations, which actually is going into a 12-month Thrive Mastery program, then of course absolutely DM me, and we can jump on, see if and how I may be able to support you and help you, and how that program may feel fully aligned for you moving forward. So have a fantastic rest of your day. Lots of love.